Hi there, welcome to another session of Drill DevOps. In this session, we are going to talk about creating AWS EC2 machine, which is a Red Hat flavor, and we are going to connect to that EC2 machine using Putty and Mobaxterm. Okay, let's start AWS console. So this is AWS console of my account, and I'm going to EC2 machine. You have to select EC2 machine. EC2 is Elastic Compute Cloud. So here we are going to launch EC2 machine. We have to select instances, and here we have option called launch instance. After hitting the launch instance button, we are going to get a series of inputs that we have to pass to our machine, which is name to our machine. We will give test drill DevOps. After giving name to our machine, we have to select Amazon machine image or OS image. So in this course, we are targeting Red Hat Linux. So we are going to select Red Hat flavor, and we can find the images here. So if you already know machine image name, or if you have already machine image ID, AMI ID we call it as, so you can give directly here, or else you can select from here. So we are going to go ahead with our free tier eligible image, and here we have to select the architecture of our image. So we will go with x86 architecture here, and it is a 64-bit. This is AMI ID, and we can select instance type here. So we'll go with free tier eligible. So right now we are going with T2 micro, which has one CPU, one gigabytes of memory, which is called RAM. So we have to select key pair. Since we don't have any key pairs, we are going to ask Amazon to create one. So we have to give key pair name. So we are going to give test DevOps as key pair name, and we can select private key file format. So for Putty, we need a .ppk. For Mobaxterm, we can give .pem file. So in this session, we are going to download PEM file, and we will try to convert PEM file to PPK file using Putty. Okay, let's download PEM file. So it is going to get downloaded automatically to our downloads, and then we have to go for network settings. Here we will select by default it is going to select all the network settings, which is VPC ID, virtual private cloud, and by default it is going to take one subnet under it, and this auto assign also happens by default, so we don't need to edit anything here. We can come here and update the security firewalls. So here we are going to select SSH traffic, because we need to connect to the EC2 machine, and to connect to any Linux machines we have to have SSH open. SSH is a protocol, and the default port for SSH is 22 port. So we are going to open this allow, and this 0.0.0/0 is nothing but anywhere which is open to internet. So anyone can connect to the machine who have this particular key, private key. Okay, let's go to the configuration of storage. So under this we are eligible for 10 gigabytes of our hard drive or a hard disk, or volume we can call it as, and we are going to go with that 10 GB of volume. We can see advanced settings, but this is not required as of now. So let's go ahead and launch the instance. So we can give number of instances to launch. So right now we are launching one instance, and it gives summary of what we have selected. See here it is AMI image and the instance type, and the security group that we have selected, and storage by default we are getting 10 GB of memory hard drive. That it is giving it as a summary, and then we will hit launch button. So your AMI is converting to machine right now, and it has created our machine. Okay, if we hit if we click this, we are going to go to the instances board, and here our instance is still getting up. If you select it, it says it's in pending state. We have to wait for it to come in green state, and health check should be 2 by 2. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. Within like 15 seconds, the instance moved into running state from pending state. So health check is getting initialized. It is going to check for a couple of times, and it is going to give us the proper status. Okay, after a couple of refreshes, we can see that instance 2 by 2 checks are passed, which is health checks. Now we can select the instance, and we can see the details about this instance. So you can see the instance summary, like instance ID, public IP, private IP, public DNS, private DNS. We can see the host name, IP name, host type is IP name, and we can see the instance type, VPC ID that this instance is attached, subnet ID that this instance is attached, and we can see the instance details, like which platform we have created and what kind of image we have uh, used for creating this machine. All these things we can see, and we can see the key pair as well. If at all if you have forgot which name you have used, you can see the key pair assigned to it. Okay, so later on we can see the security. So when you see the security, you will be able to see a security group, which is again we can see inbound and outbound rules. So by default for any Linux machine, this 22 port is open because we have selected while launching it, which means like to connect to this machine, we have to open 22 port, and the protocol is TCP, and the this 22 port is nothing but SSH, secure shell we call it as. So with this port, and by using SSH, we need to connect to the machine. So that is why it is open to internet, since we are connecting outside of this network, VPC network. So if we are inside VPC, then we can directly use private IP, and we can block this security group. Inbound is nothing but incoming traffic, outbound is nothing but outgoing traffic, where whenever you send any request to any server or application, it is called as incoming request. The response that you get from the application is called as response or outbound. So here inbound is nothing but we are sending request to connect to this machine, and that is going to connect with 22 port, which is SSH, and that is how we are going to connect. And this should be open because we are connecting outside of this VPC network, which is internet. So if we are inside any of these machines inside this VPC, if we logged in into the any machine that we have created inside this VPC, then we will able to connect without even this source is open to internet. We can update to the IP CIDR block of our VPC, and we can directly connect to the machine, so that we are inside the loop or internet VPC network. So that is what the network details is all about. If you are unable to connect, try first step is to check if 22 port is open to internet or not. Otherwise you are not able to connect because you are outside of the VPC network. Now let's see the other options. Instance, we can see the instance state. We can stop the instance, reboot the instance, or delete or terminate the instance here. And we have multiple options here, how to connect and details of this instance, how to, if you want to manage instance, we can manage it. We have instance settings like attaching auto scaling group, or we can update the user data, manage tags, we can modify the instance metadata as well from the console itself. We can attach networkings, we can manage IP address, we can connect to the RDS instances with this network option. We have security group. If we want to change security groups, we can change, or if we want to attach any role, we can attach. Right now we don't have any role attached here, so we can attach it, or we can modify the existing roles that is attached. We have the image templates. We can create an image out of this EC2 machine and use that image to launch our next instance, or we can create a template from this instance and launch more instances like this. We have another option called, we can create multiple duplicate instances of this, and we can monitor and troubleshoot. This is related to monitoring, and this is about the actions. And here we are going to see how to connect to the instance. We have multiple ways to connect, but for now we are sticking on to the SSH client because we are using Putty or Mobaxterm. Both these options use SSH. So all these are AWS offering services, so it needs a separate separate inputs and the permissions to our EC2. So that is separate discussion. We can talk in different session. For now, we are sticking on to SSH client. So here we have multiple commands where you can see the temp file or the key file that we have downloaded, which is private key file, should have permissions of 400 only. If you are trying to connect from Linux machine and if your key is inside your Linux machine, make sure that it should have 400 permissions, which is read and execute. And for the owner of this file. Owner of this file should have only read and execute, not write. The other group and others should have no permissions to read or access this or execute this. So that is what chmod means, and we will update. For now we are connecting from from Windows machine, so we don't need to check that. And to connect to your EC2 instance, we have to use public DNS or public IP, which we can see it in the instance properties or instance summary. So this will be our public IP address and this will be our public DNS, which is used to connect our instance. So if we hit connect, again it will go here. This will be the public DNS and this will be the command, example command to use. So let's take before that let's try to download Mobaxterm first. So this is the official page of Mobaxterm where you can download. So this will give you two options when you hit the download button. One is home edition, which is free, and the other one is professional edition. So we will go with free edition. And here we are going to see portable or installable edition. We'll go with installer edition. So here we have to extract this file or unzip it, or if we can double click, it is going to extract, and we can open it and we can run. Double click on the Mobaxterm installer. So we are going to hit next. We are going to see where this is going to get installed. Hit install. We are going to ask the permissions. Let's try. Since I have already installed and uninstalled, it has some previous data, so it was asking me whether to copy it or not. I was saying ignore. So let's see. So it has installed. We can try. So once you open this Mobaxterm, you are going to get this application, which is Mobaxterm application. Here, this particular Mobaxterm application will help you to connect your any of these Linux machines or Windows machines or any of these other VM machines. We can connect like Fedora, CentOS, any of these other machines, other OS we can connect. For now, let's create a session. And here when you hit the sessions button, you are going to get multiple options like SSH, Telnet, RDP is for Windows, FTP, file transfer protocol, FTP we can connect. We can have a shell separately, we can connect to AWS S3. So all these things, but for now let's stick on to SSH. Here it is going to ask for IP address or our server public DNS or hostname. So we have public IP and public DNS. Let's go and fetch that. So this is our public DNS. We can use this. Give here. We have to specify the name. Since our machine is machine is Red Hat based. If you see, it's a Red Hat image and Red Hat machine. So we have to connect to this via EC2 user. So by default there will be one user apart from root. It is EC2 user. We have to connect to this machine via EC2 user. So here we have to give specify username and pass the username as EC2-user. Now we have to feed so into any machine we have to have username and password, or if we are connecting to Linux machines we have to have username and SSH keys or password. So in our case we don't have password, we have private key and we have to feed private key under advanced SSH settings. If you go here you have option called use private key. Check this button, it's get enabled and we can browse it. We have an option here, blue button. If you hit that we are going to get this, and here if you see we have one file downloaded which is private key. When while creating EC2 instance we got this. So we are going to select this, open it, and it is going to feed. And now if you hit OK, SSH tries to connect to that EC2 machine and it is successfully established connection, and now you can see it has connected to EC2 user. Now if you see this IP is private IP of the machine. If you go to EC2 machine summary, if you see this private IP, it is 172.31.31.206. If you see 172.31.31.206. So this is how you can connect through Mobaxterm. Okay, this is one way of connection. Let's see how we can do it with Putty. So to connect to the Putty, we have to have Putty software here in our Windows machine. Let's download Putty. We have first website putty.org. We can hit putty.org, and under this we have download option, download Putty. Let's go to this, and my machine is Windows 64-bit x86 OS, so I'll go with this first one. It's a direct installer, you can download it directly, and if you open it in the downloads, we're going to see it in the downloads section. So we have a Putty 64-bit installer. Let's install it. Okay, it says Putty is installed. Uncheck and finish it. Now if you see, we have Putty in our machine. So Putty app and Putty gen. Okay, let's talk about Putty gen now. Later on we will see Putty. Putty gen is to generate keys. Either we can generate our custom keys, or we can load a PEM file, private key file, and get a .ppk file out of it. So in this case, in our case, so Putty only accepts ppk file. So we have to change our .pem, which is in the downloaded. If you see here, ours is .pem file. So we have to convert .pem file to .ppk file. So that is why we have Putty gen. Now let's see what is Putty. Putty is main app that it is going to connect to the SSH. It is going to do SSH to the machine. So if you see here, we have host IP and default port is 22 and connection type is SSH, So we are going to connect to this machine now. So we are going to pass public IP or public DNS, and we can give we can load our .ppk file under connection. We have SSH, and under SSH we have auth. Under auth we have credentials. We have to upload our private key file here. So this is a private key file. So we have to browse it and feed .ppk file here. So right now we don't have any ppk file that is converted. This particular key file, we did not convert this into ppk yet. It is in .pm format, so we have to convert that. So to do that, let's open PuttyGen. This is Putty generator, and we have to load the file. If you want to generate your private and public key file, we can generate using generate. Right now we already have one private key file, so let's load it. So our pen file is under downloads. So directly you won't get .ppk file here. We have to select all files here. .pen file will not be shown initially because it will be under .ppk format. So it is not shown anywhere here. So we have to select all files, and then only it is going to give you. So right now we have to feed .pen file to get .ppk file. So let's open it. So it is successfully imported and converted, and all we need is just save the private key. So we have to hit S because it is saying without passphrase. So we can save, no problem on it, and let's give a name to it. Test drill the webs. Let's remove this dot and let's save it. So it is going to get saved here like this, and this is what ppk format is. If you want to see, you can see it here. Putty private key file. Test drill the webs. Putty private key file. So we have converted our .pen to .ppk, and let's close this. Let's open Putty again. Let's try to connect. So this time let's give public IP instead of DNS. Let's try this. Give an IP address 422, and let's do the connection. Under auth, under SSH we have auth. Under auth we have credentials. We have to go to credentials and load our ppk file. So when you open immediately, it is going to see, or else you can redirect your folder and where your ppk is stored, and you can load this ppk file. By default, it is going to ask you to have .ppk formatted file. So let's load it and open. And it is going to ask you, it's not cached, or is it okay to do that? We are going to select accept, and it is going to ask for EC2 user because we have not provided any username. Let's give username here. So it is going to connect, or else we can also pass directly in the putty itself. So it's a PuttyGen. Let's open Putty. So let's give EC2-user @ let's paste the public IP address, and under connection we have SSH. Under SSH we have auth. Under auth we have credentials. This is very important. Under auth we have again credentials. Under credentials we have private key file. We can select where so you can browse to your ppk downloaded or converted folder path, and you can select and open it. So this time it is not going to ask you EC2 user. By default we have given it, so it came. So this is how you can connect. So you can also see the versions. So if you see, this is the OS format that we have. So this is how you can connect to your EC2 machine using Mobaxterm. And if you want to connect to Putty, we have to convert our .pem file to .ppk and then we can load it. So that's all for this session. Thanks for watching this video.